first thing that I'm going to talk about is essentially like, sub count. Your sub count is going to oscillate. It's a thing that comes and goes though. I had average sub counts of, 1,500 that oscillated to 2,100 that, downgraded to 800 subscribers and then raised again to like 1,500 subscribers. And it's a thing that like is never going to be extremely consistent, and the idea that you got to put in more work to either make that essentially match every single month or get better every single month is going to drive you insane. I think there is some value in displaying your sub count on screen so your community knows your goals, but it's easier to have smaller sub counts displayed on your screen rather than your total sub count, because although it is a thing that I think it's nice to be like proud of, because it's an achievement. Man, it's hard to get like subscriptions and people like paying to watch your content. It's easy to make that be something that is related to your self-worth in a way that's like, I feel like when before I got burnt out and stuff, that I put a lot of like effort and creative thinking into my content, my sub count was actually lower than it was when I was half-assing my content. So like, what was I like? It's there is no correlation. Twitch is a crazy platform. The less you worry, the better it's going to be for you. I think the whole idea of sub counts and viewership is going to drive you insane. We just get into a level of acceptance that things are going to go great, things are going to stagnate, things are going to go bad, and then the pendulum's going to keep swinging. If you keep going, it will keep swinging. I can't tell you how many times I've seen a person that like for years they had absolutely nothing, like no viewership whatsoever, and out of nowhere they just get the thing, and then they have like a surge of that for like 6, 7, or 8 months, and then they like decline again, because that's the way that it goes. It goes like this for everyone. I had friends that had at some point 30,000 subs that are now sitting at 2,000. It's normal. It literally is normal, right? Does it take a toll on you mentally? Yes. And I think that the only way to deal with it is to let go. Don't make it more of a thing than what it has to be. You have a choice to live in that bus meme where you're looking at darkness or you're looking at, the positive. Stop focusing on how much it oscillates, because that will literally just drive you to do those extremely sick hours of like, streaming 17 hours a day and doing like 2-month-long subathons and putting yourself at risk for like thrombosis and stroke and heart disease, losing the relationships with your friends and family. Like, it's not worth it. I want to talk about also like, branching out from a main game to a variety game. Here's the thing, right? I feel like two things are important. Having a community in the beginning is truly important. So like having a main game, a thing that you enjoy playing the most, is actually very good for you. And I encourage people to have a main game, right? But at some point, you gotta stop pigeonholing yourself and branch out from that. I was lucky that I grew my community off of NoPixel in 2018 before it was ever popular. It was one of those things that I was in the right place at the right time, and I ended up getting some of that trickle down effect from huge streamers coming over to NoPixel, and that's how it happened to me, right? So I was in a thing that I was good at, right? I'm good at voice acting, I'm good at acting, I'm good at creating characters, and I am funny. So those were my strengths, right? Had I tried to grow my channel on Call of Duty, maybe I would have become popular for how bad I am at it. You know what I mean? So find something that plays to your strengths, okay, and that you are good at, and then just try to get involved in that community. And it's gonna be good for you to grow having like an actual community and a schedule and consistency and all of that, but most importantly, a category in which you build your brand. Then it comes the part that you may want to branch out into variety after that, because you're either tired of doing the same thing for years on end, you've seen stagnation, or you're burnt out enough that unfortunately you lost interest in the things that you were once passionate about, and that's because you didn't follow the advice that I gave. Hopefully it was edited first, which is don't stress your viewership and sub count. If you didn't follow that and then you find yourself in a way that you're just like stagnated and burned out and all of that, then you might want to branch out to variety, because you need to find the thing that makes you want to stream again, even if it is by branching out in variety. Now, I did ask permission to show this. I was struggling with variety, like the idea of like I want to branch out and do variety for a long time. By the way, I just want to also note that he had no incentive to DM me that, because we were not friends at all. So he did that shit because, you know, because he did, and I thought that that was very like sweet of him to, you know, try to give me advice about like something I was struggling with, and kind of like encourage me to you know, stick to the decision that I had made. It was a really nice thing that he did. But he said to me, the grass is always greener from one game to the other, but the grass is never green when you bathe yourself in imposter syndrome. It's even less green if you listen to other people's clouded opinions. Keep that in mind. And I didn't understand it then. I was like, this man is a sphinx. Just send me a riddle at 6 times speed. But I was like, I wonder what this means, you know what I mean? Because I can only like speculate. And from the experience that I had, you know, later on with variety, I understood that what he was talking about, at least from what I understood of it, was that, you know, you're gonna have different levels of enjoyment with the variety games that you're playing, and you shouldn't let viewership or audience dictate your enjoyment and what it is that you're trying out. Like, if you enjoy the thing that you're playing, then nothing else should matter. And you also should never feel like you are undeserving of the things that you accomplished. I can't tell you guys how many times I had people try to make me feel bad because I only had 75 viewers, or I only had 100 viewers, or I only had 300 viewers, or, you know, like there are people that will come around and be like, ooh, you're nothing. Not understanding that it's extremely hard to even get 10 concurrent viewers on Twitch. You know, it's really hard. Most people are streaming to no viewers in Commander Root for most of the time, right? So you're never going to enjoy things if you bathe yourself in imposter syndrome. I feel like it's easy to just like be looking sideways and at what other people are doing and being like, I'm not there yet, or I wish I was there and I'm not there. And that is going to take away from the enjoyment of everything that you do, and it's going to like drive you to a bad place, right? So I understood that later from doing variety, because I had a decline when I started doing variety. You know, it feels branching out feels like a punishment. It's scary and it's uncertain, and you're gonna bleed followers. You're gonna bleed followers. Your subscription is going to go down, but if you can push through that, then it's better, because like I feel like after you have, you know, gotten partnership and built a community and then all these things like actually having meaning again, then what's going to happen is that you're going to have to mold your community more to like the people that want to be there for you and not for a game, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, every successful streamer that's ever existed because people are there for them. They're not there for the game that they're playing. So I feel like if you haven't gotten to that point yet, then you haven't gotten to a healthy point yet, because people need to be there for you, not for the game you're playing necessarily. You don't want a person that's attached to a category that's not a real viewer, you know what I mean? That's not a like a vital part of your community. That's just illusion, in my opinion. So he says, the grass is even less green if you listen to other people clouded opinions. Keep that in mind. Basically, it's one of those like, do your own things, or like what worked for me is yada yada yada. I feel like a lot of like the Twitch subreddit is crazy, man. So many things there are unimportant, and they make issues out of non-issues all the time, and they try to like reduce Twitch down to a science when Twitch is random as heck. So I feel like that's a valuable also advice that XQC gave me as well was just, not gonna enjoy anything if you keep listening to other people, or it's not gonna go well for you. So I really think that he gave me some solid advice when it came down to it, and it was completely like, he reached out to me out of his kindness, because he didn't have to, and I didn't understand it then, but then I understood it. The most important tip is to establish healthy boundaries early on. And the reason why I'm saying that is because there's always going to be a difference, like a power imbalance between yourself and members of your audience. It's very important to do early on, because if you don't do that early on, it's going to be very hard to correct that later on. So here's the thing, right? There's always going to be a power dynamic between yourself as the entertainer and your viewer, right? There's always going to be that. So it's for their protection and also your protection as well, that there is a barrier established between yourself and the audience member, so lines don't get crossed and it doesn't get uncomfortable or dangerous for anybody, all right? So I would say block your DMs from like receiving DMs from other audience members, literally, because the golden rule for me is there's nothing a viewer can say to you that they can't say to you publicly. So essentially, like, if you have your community Discord, if a viewer doesn't feel like they can say something to you on your public Discord in front of everybody, then it's a trap. If they want to like DM you privately, they're trying to breach that, and it can lead to, other than the side of the power imbalance, it can lead to like very uncomfortable situations as well for yourself. I once had this viewer that would he came from a different community, by the way, and he gifted like 500, 800, 1,000 subs at one point in the same like night. He was like rich, and he tried to DM me the same day because he was expecting a friendship out of it, and it's like, that's not the right way to go about it, first of all, and it puts you also in an awkward position later on. The community that he was a part of, he got really drunk and he said something like, I own that big streamer that they were talking about because I gift like 20, 30,000 subs, so he'll do whatever he like, I want him to do. And that person got banned from that community, by the way. So it's like, it's literally a thing that it's better to have that boundary. Trust me, okay? So you're here to entertain, you're here to play a game, and you're here to not let things get out of hand and get weird, right? And you need people that in your community that like understand that. So the idea that a person would try to bridge that gap with you and try to make things personal, it's best to just like avoid that altogether. Block your DMs, right? And make it a rule as well. If a person can't say something to me publicly in my Discord or in my chat, then I don't want to hear it, because privately is where things get weird, is where people start trying to control you, make things awkward, send you their privates and things like that. You don't need that. So like, no. It's healthy for you to nourish friendships outside of Twitch. Understand that Twitch is a high school. A lot of these people see you as competition, or they see you as someone that they can gain things from. And the best way to see that is when you're doing well. My God, do they flock? So this is the like hella valuable advice that I can give to you. As much as you need to keep boundaries with the people in your audience, it's also advised that you keep things professional between yourself and other people that work on Twitch, because a lot of you're in for a really rough time if you're trying to make friendships where the foundation for it is already faulty that way. So these are the tips that I have for you starting out on Twitch. Pretty much feel like a mom, talking to you about the dangers, and obviously a lot of you are probably not going to follow some of the most important stuff here and learn it the hard way, and you're welcome to come back later and tell me I told you so. All right, I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.